The Dodgers suffer another historic loss. Shohei Ohtani said he's willing to play in the outfield in the postseason. We'll tell you why that could be an option. Also, the Dodgers bullpen is an absolute dumpster fire. Can they win a World Series with this pen? Injury updates and more. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You guys want a parade? We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 club. Milky Magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. I cover the Dodgers for Dodgers Nation, a credentialed member of the media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Dmac_LA. If you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel. If you're an everyday viewer and you want to know how you can support the show, the best thing you can do is you can hit the subscribe button, but also hit the like button and drop a comment down below. We got a jam-packed show. I asked you guys over on the X, is this Dodgers bullpen fixable? Can the Dodgers win the World Series with this bullpen? And right now, 18% of Dodgers fans say yes, while 82% of Dodgers fans say no. So another rough night for that Dodgers bullpen yesterday. We're going to get into that. But first, we have partnered with Homage. This is one of the most iconic jackets in baseball history. And Homage has restocked one of the best pieces of Dodgers merchandise, the heavyweight satin jacket. Earlier this season, Homage brought it back right before the Tokyo series, and it sold out instantly. This jacket is built for the dugout with all the classic details of the original. Full snap buttons, slip pockets, quilted lining, and the essential interior patch. With the postseason right around the corner, you'll need something fly to keep you warm whenever you're at those night games at Dodger Stadium. And this jacket is a great investment. I mean, this is timeless. You'll have this forever. Click on the link below in their description and the pinned message in our live chat today, and you can buy yours now. There's only a couple hundred left, and sizes will be sold out very quickly. So, hey, you're going to, hopefully it's not a long, cold winter for the Dodgers, but if it is, you have this awesome jacket to rock. This is great. They need to bring these back and make these permanent. I don't know why they changed. So this is awesome. But all right, guys, we've got so much to get into, and we got Noel here. He's looking for your comments. He's looking for all your thoughts, comments, and questions about your boys in blue, all your hot takes. We're going to feature those later during the seventh inning stretch. So keep those locked in. We'll also read comments throughout the show. I know you guys are very passionate about what's going on right now with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we've got so much to get into. So let's get right into it.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
All right, so the hottest story in Dodger baseball is the Dodgers continue to have really great starting pitching performances and terrible performances from their bullpen. The Dodgers have given up 15 runs in 8 2/3 innings from their bullpen this series. 15 runs in 8 2/3 innings. That is how bad it's been for the bullpen. And the Dodgers last night, they became the first team since at least 1906 to get 5+ no-hit innings from a starting pitcher and have a bullpen allow 9+ runs in a game. Shohei Ohtani was absolutely dominant. Shohei Ohtani proved that he should be a game 1 or 2 starter. At this point, I don't even think it's a debate. I don't think it's a conversation. I think that the only debate now is it Shohei or Yamamoto in game 1. But some combination of Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto will be pitching in the first 2 games of a wild card series, most likely. They lost 2 games they had to win to have any chance to win that bye. And you're now looking at a situation. We've laid out all the scenarios where it's the Mets at Dodger Stadium, a rematch of the NLCS last year. But right now, with the season winding down, the Dodgers' chances of clinching a bye, they were 3% yesterday, and now that number is down to 0.6. 0.6% chances. That is the chance the Dodgers have of finishing with the second seed in the National League. They still have a 90.8% chance to win the division. That's because the Padres have played essentially equally as bad as the Dodgers of late. And this is a Dodgers team that was projected to win 104 games. You had people out there saying that they could win 120 games. They could be the best team ever in the regular season, challenge those Cubs in 1906 and the 2001 Mariners for regular season wins. And yes, that's not important necessarily. I mean, you really could go down as a team that you talk about for the rest of baseball eternity if you're able to pull off something like that. But for a team to not win 90 games, that would be really mind-blowing for a team that has this much talent. And right now you look at the way things play out. This is a Dodgers team that has 11 games to play, including tonight, the third game of this series. And this is a Dodgers team that if you had a bullpen that at least was a B, this could be the best team in baseball history. That combined with normal years from Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman, some more ifs in there, of course, the health of the starting rotation. But that just is a glimpse into how talented this team is. Now, the big talking point yesterday was about Shohei Ohtani and Shohei Ohtani not going back out there in the sixth inning. And after he did make his dominant start where he was great, and he wasn't just great against a good team, he was great against an elite offensive team with a lot of really, really good hitters, guys that are up there to do damage, teams that you'll face in the postseason. The Phillies are certainly a team that you could see the Dodgers facing. At this point, that's the dream, right? You want to see the Phillies in the NLDS. But yesterday, he gave up no runs on no hits, had 5 strikeouts and 1 walk. The ERA on the season is down to 3.29. But Shohei Ohtani, as a pitcher, is putting up elite numbers. And, he also hit his 50th home run yesterday. So there were people last year claiming, Shohei Ohtani, yes, he has the stolen bases, but also he has the home runs. And is he hitting better because he's not pitching? Well, he has pitched now for a good amount of time, and he's still hitting at an elite level. Now, why did he not stay in that game? Well, during the game, there was a moment where it was a light moment, right? You had Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts joking. You had Dave Roberts and Shohei Ohtani joking. And here was this exchange about Shohei and if he wanted to stay in and just kind of how that start went. So that was when things were lighter. That's when the Dodgers had a 4-0 lead at that point. And then the wheels fell off. Justin Robleski gave up 5 straight hits. And he let that lead dwindle to the point where you're begging for offense to try to save the day. And you end up losing that game 9-6. But when that all went down, you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Shohei Ohtani, you said before the game, depending how things went, who knows? Could he have gone 6 innings, right? Could he have gone 6? He threw 68 pitches, right? So from a pitch count standpoint, that's not a lot for a starting pitcher. He was extremely efficient in that one. So you're probably asking yourself, well, look, we're probably not going to see a no-hitter, right? Like, you're not going to see a no-hitter. And yes, that's the norm in Major League Baseball. There have been 0 no-hitters this year in the sport. So that's just par for the course. But as far as how many pitches he's thrown, yes, his last start was a little different because he was coming off that illness and he was filling in for Tyler Glass now, but they give him extended rest, right? He hadn't pitched since September 5th. Yesterday was September 16th. So he got way longer than a week's rest, but he has had some games where he's pitched a good amount. 87 pitches against the Reds. That was his season high. So he has gone 5 innings, and the first thing I want to point out here, the first thing, if there's one thing that you take away from this show, the one thing that I hope you take away from the show is this, and we can put this to bed forever. And if you still want Dave Roberts fired, that's fine. That's fine. But what I want to establish here is if you think that Dave Roberts was the guy that had complete anonymity to make that decision to take him out of the game, if you think that it was just Dave Roberts, well, this should end that for all. So anytime you say fire Dave Roberts, you have to attach, no, fire Dave Roberts, fire the front office, fire the baseball development, fire the doctors, fire his agent. So I know it's a lot to type, but next time you want to say fire Dave Roberts, and this is the show for the thinking Dodgers fan, right? The most informed Dodgers fan. And my goal is to make you the most informed Dodgers fan. So if you want to say fire Dave Roberts, that's fine. But just know that if you want him fired for a decision that you're mad about, that there was a lot more people than Dave Roberts that went into that decision. Like, if Dave Roberts pitched Shohei Ohtani in that game in the 6th and he got injured, Dave Roberts probably would get fired. Or at least he'd be in big trouble because that would require him to go completely rogue and go against the doctors, the front office, the baseball development, all the powers that be that go into these decisions. That decision was made before the game, 5 innings, and that was it. If you have a problem with that, which is a whole nother debate that we'll talk about, well, that's a whole separate issue. But here is Dave Roberts talking about his decision to not move forward with Shohei into the 6th inning.
They clearly, they're lacking confidence. I think that it's kind of, they all want to pitch well. They all want the opportunities and they're just kind of, they're not making good pitches when they need to and a little careful at times. And so I think for me, I believe in the talent, but right now they're just kind of, just don't have the confidence that they need to have to be consistent. And so when you're facing a team like this that's, won a division that's going to grind at bats, you've got to continue to make good pitches. And when you don't, they're going to capitalize.
It's just the, I guess, elongated experience of some of these inconsistencies just made that a little bit more challenging for the group with their confidence. And do you think it's something that, considering what now 12 games left of the regular season, they can find a way to kind of turn things around as a group?
Yeah, I absolutely think they can. There's a lot of guys that have experience. There's some guys that have had nice years that are young players. So I do believe that there's time. I think for me, it's trying to, get these guys to understand that what's done in the past, it has to be behind them, and they've got to have a short memory. And I think that's the thing that they're having a hard time, getting past the short memory of today's a new day, it's a new opportunity, and go out there and impose your will, be aggressive, and not be afraid to fail. And I think that that's where we got to get the guys to. I think as a unit. And so, there's no roles. It's just kind of when the phone rings, and that's their mantra, be ready to pitch. And so that hasn't changed. And so when they get the opportunity, just feel good about it and go out there and compete.
Dave, given
conversation with Shohei by the dugout railing there in the 5th, how did you make the decision?
Well, he wasn't going to go back out. We've been very steadfast in every situation as far as inning for his usage, from 1 inning to 2 innings to 3 to 4 to 5. We haven't deviated from that. So I was trying to get his pulse on for going forward, where he's at, continuing to go to the 6th inning. And he says, feel okay. And so that was good. But I'm not going to have a, plan for 5 innings and then he pitches well and say, hey, now you're going to go 6 innings. And then, he's too important. And if something does happen, then that's on me for changing it. And we haven't done that all year. So I'm not going to do that right now. So, yeah, I would have loved to have him go out there. But if the conversation was, if he's efficient, he can go to the 6th inning, that's a different conversation. But it was a hard 5 innings, and that's just the way it goes. And guys have got to do their jobs.
Just to make sure the conversation was not so much about gathering intel for that start, but for the future.
For the future, yeah. That's what my decision was already going to be done. So I'm trying to get a gauge on him going out there, and he's open to whatever. But if I don't have that conversation, this is a different situation. It's been different this whole year. And so he's 2 players in one. And for me to try to do something and deviate, and if something happens, then we lose 2 players. And so if the conversation isn't had, I'm not going to do it. We haven't done it all year. So I'm not going to do it tonight.
Does a night like this, when you start to look ahead to October, kind of raise, you guys figure out how far you can push them in? Kind of
Yeah, I mean, if there's conversations that of the powers that be, and Shohei included, if everyone's in the conversation saying, hey, we'll push them, that's a different conversation. But, what I knew going in is that he was going to be 5 innings. So that's where it stops.
How much, right, so today was basically, that's like a health decision, right? It's not so much like a baseball decision.
Well, his thing is going to be a health decision the whole way until we get to next year. It's actually going to be a health decision going forward.
But, say it's October, now you guys have conversations about can he go 6, right? It puts the health maybe a little bit more at risk. There is some risk involved there. How much is his say going to factor into whatever you guys kind of ultimately decide doing there?
It would definitely, certainly has weight. But I think that that's something that is good for all of us to talk about beforehand and then evaluate stress of innings and, up downs. He did a 3+ 10 days ago. And then now to say that he's just going to go 6 innings, those are things that, and plus the conversation was had. So, as you get to the postseason and, it's a different conversation for sure.
Obviously you've been a player, right?
Yeah.
You understand kind of windows, right, about windows and stuff. They can close pretty quickly. If he's kind of adamant about, I want to take this shot now. Again, right, knowing kind of where the player's kind of mindset is, how sympathetic would you be?
I would be sympathetic. When you get into when you're in the postseason, I would be more sympathetic. But you also have to understand that the player's always going to feel that they can do it. And this is his first year off Tommy John. We've been very diligent in how we've managed him. And I think because of that, we're in a very good spot today. And so you can look back at all of his outings and said, could I have pushed him next inning without the conversation? Maybe, but we're in this spot today because I think we've been very diligent.
So the conversation is had to go deeper in October for him. Isn't there also the caveat that he hasn't done that in the regular season yet, pitched that deep? And wouldn't that come into play?
Yeah, but you're talking about 6 innings. That's why I wanted to get the gauge. You're not talking about 7 or 8 innings. You're talking about 6 innings potentially.
So if he hadn't done it, then you'd still be okay if it was October?
Yeah. Because I think that, we've done the 5 and, I think, yeah.
The bullpen, how difficult has it been, especially as you've kind of leaned on guys who've been better recently, to see them start to struggle a bit, like Justin tonight, Jack last night? How much does that kind of add to the difficulty of trying to manage that?
Yeah, the group is sort of going through it right now, and they've got to kind of find a way to remain confident. And like I said, just kind of let go of, the recent baggage, because at times that each one of these guys has been fantastic. And so I know that the moment is not getting too big for them, and they've got to just kind of focus and make pitches. And that's just kind of what it boils down to. And then you got to get some confidence and keep going. But right now, you see it, Blake had 5 pitches and 2 outs, and then he gives up, a double, and then, he goes 3-0, and Stott's a contact guy, and then you got the 9-hitter up. So I figured I'd take a chance with the 9-hitter, and, he makes a bad pitch to him. So it's like, he's still Blake Treinen, but I think that he's still got to go out there and impose his will and make good pitches.
Did today, given both the opponent and the performance, kind of teach you anything about the viability of Ohtani as a pitcher in the playoffs? I'm not talking about length here. I'm just talking about his effectiveness.
Yeah. it did. It did. And I had a really good feeling, I think we all did, that he was going to come in and pitch well tonight. And I thought he and Ben did a great job together. I thought the fastball command glove side was fantastic. The sweeper was great. You know, they were obviously not getting many good swings off him. He was dominant. He was dominant.
I'm sorry, going back to the Ohtani thing real quick. When you guys have these discussions, since you, like Andrew, front office people,
The agent.
no, Dr. Elatraj, I assume, right? He's like the actual like medical guy.
This is a you know, it's a plan that we've all talked about and laid out.
Does this really kind of go beyond the doctor? I mean, if the doctor says 5 is it, I mean, isn't that kind of the end of the conversation, or is there any kind of wiggle room?
Absolutely. I mean, but I think when you get into the playoffs, I think that, you know, again, this is a conversation that we've all had, and we've done it all year. So it's, you know, I'm not gonna go against what we did. I mean, that's just what we talked about.
Shohei told us that there's a possibility he could play the outfield in the postseason. What do you feel about that?
You know, he's a great teammate. He wants to help us win a championship. So I'm all about it. So I don't know if it's going to happen. He hasn't played the outfield, but I appreciate the fact that he's open to whatever we need. So I don't know how that looks. So I don't. He hasn't taken a fly ball all year.
Would that theoretically be a way to like keep him in as a relief option?
Yeah, that is a way. That is a way. But again, I don't think anything should be off the table. But yeah, we'll see. But that's great that he said that.
Okay, so a couple things there, lots to unpack. Let's start with his comments on Shohei Ohtani and pitching. So I know you guys probably think I'm going to freak out saying, oh, Shohei Ohtani should have been out there in the 6th or the 7th or the 8th or the 9th. Well, here's the thing. Dave's right in that situation there, that if you lose Shohei Ohtani, the season's over and next season could be over, right? He's still recovering from his second Tommy John surgery. And here's the thing. He was never going to finish the no-hitter, and I don't believe in team no-hitters, so there's that. And also, at some point, he was going to have to go to his relievers, and all of them stunk up the joint on various ways, in various degrees. Robleski, Edgardo Henriquez, Blake Treinen, all 3 of them did not get the job done. And yes, when you give them less innings to have to fail, then you're putting yourself in a better position. But it is like going from a Bugatti, a Ferrari, to a beat-up old Ultima or something. Like, it's definitely a major drop-off from going to your relievers to your starters. It is like Dave Roberts has to juggle a ticking time bomb. And it's which bomb is he going to pick? Which guy is he going to pick that's going to blow up? Because which of those guys would you have trusted? And if you want to blame Dave Roberts, that's fine. I mean, you guys, I'm not going to tell you how to fan, but like I said, I used to be like you guys. I used to say, oh, fire the manager, this and that. And then once I started doing this job, getting more access, talking to more people, learning more stuff, I realized that that's not how the Dodgers do things, that it's not the manager. Blaming Dave Roberts every single time that something goes wrong with the Dodgers is like blaming Edward John Smith, the captain of the Titanic, for why the Titanic sunk. The Titanic did not sink primarily because of Edward John Smith. Yes, he was going a little fast, 21 to 22 knots there, knowing that there was an iceberg. It was a dark night. Wasn't the perfect captain, but the real reason that the Titanic sunk was because of quality of the way the ship was made. And if you know about the Titanic, which I've been obsessed with pretty much my entire life, well, one of the big reasons why the Titanic sunk was in the construction of that ship, they ended up going with the rivets that were the wrought iron rivets instead of going with the steel rivets. The steel rivets were stronger. They were more expensive. The Dodgers, they went with the wrought iron rivets for this bullpen, right? And you have to think about how this team is constructed right now. And You look at the inside of the Titanic, the ballrooms, the decor, the tables, the Greek baths. It was just the most luxurious internal part of the boat. That's the starting rotation. That's the lineup. But the bullpen, yes, they did invest heavily in Tanner Scott and then brought back Blake Treinen. But the truth is, a lot of these guys are guys that are making a fraction of what the starters are making or the elite position players. And unfortunately, Andrew Friedman did have an opportunity to go out there and be more aggressive and try to get more firepower at the deadline. But instead, he went out and the only move they made was Brock Stewart. So it remains to be seen, can the Dodgers win with his bullpen? Well, you look at yesterday, the question is, do the guys that failed yesterday, are they the guys that you'll be seeing in the postseason? Well, the first guy out of the pen yesterday was Justin Robleski. He went in the sixth inning, and he kept the no-hitter going for one hitter, but then Rafael Marchand, he had a single to right center, and there goes the combined no-hitter. Then Harrison Bader and Kyle Schwarber, they both had singles, so 3 singles in a row and just 1 out. And then Bryce Harper, he lined a 2-run double to give the Phillies a run, and then 2 runs scored. That cuts the lead in half, makes it a 4-2 game. And then with a tying run at second base, Brandon Marsh, he comes up representing that go-ahead run. He just 183 on the season, and he had just one home run against a left-handed pitcher on the year. In Marsh, he sees an 0-2 slider on the outer part of the plate, and he crushes it over the right field wall to give the Phillies a lead. So just like that, the lead disappeared. And Edgardo Henriquez, he wasn't warmed up, right? You're not going to bring in a non-warmed up pitcher, but you probably should have had him warming up earlier. I'll tell you that. But here's the funny thing. So you bring in Edgardo Henriquez. What does he do? What does he do? Well, he comes into the game, and, well, the Phillies, they pad that lead. Max Kepler crushes a home run to make it a 6-run inning for the Phillies. So the Phillies bat around against that Dodgers bullpen. Thankfully for Ben Rortvedt, he got Weston Wilson trying to take second base, and that ended the rally. So heads up play there. And then Jack Dreyer, Anthony Banda, you go in the game. You went scoreless. But look what happened yesterday. I mean, you had them, they gave the runs yesterday and then today. So, yeah, I mean, good for Shohei Ohtani. He brought the Dodgers within a run, hit his 50th home run of the season off David Robertson. And give credit to Shohei, first player ever to have multiple 50 home run seasons. He's the first player ever to have back-to-back 50 home run seasons since Alex Rodriguez did it with the Rangers in 2001 and 2002. He's also the first player in baseball history to hit 50 home runs and strike out 50 hitters in the same season. So he had a 50-50 season you didn't even know was coming. He's the straight-A student that's going to Harvard. We're not worried about him. He's the valedictorian. We're worried about those students that are flunking right now on their quizzes. We're worried about those students that might not pass and make it to the next grade, right? Not worried about Shohei. Valedictorian, Harvard student, all A's. He's great. We're worried about some of the other students in the class that aren't putting up A's, and that's the bullpen. And then let's talk about Blake Treinen. So Blake Treinen, he takes over in the 9th inning, and initially he looked good. He looked efficient. He looked crisp. 5 pitches to get 2 outs. And then all of a sudden, the command disappeared. He gave a double to Weston Wilson. These number 9 hitters, these number 8 hitters have been crushing the Dodgers this series. And then they intentionally walked Bryson Stott after he was down 3-0. And then another number 9 hitter for the Phillies was the knockout blow to the Dodgers for a consecutive game. Marchand comes up, he hits a home run, and then that was that. And you're not coming back from that. And then Johan Duran, he held on to the lead this time, giving the Dodgers their 5th straight loss at home against the Phillies, going back to last season. Only good news is that the Padres did lose to the Mets 8-3, so you still have a 2-game lead in the division. But look at this bullpen. They're going to have to get creative. They are going to have to get creative. They're going to have to find ways to extend these starters in the postseason, so they have to cover less innings. And I think you're going to have to say, hey, which of these guys that aren't in the bullpen right now are you going to use? Could it be a Roki Sasaki? Could it be a Kyle Hurt? What will Emmet Sheehan's role be in the bullpen? Because we know he's not going to be a starter, but will he have a different role where it's not necessarily he's the bulk guy? Is he just a high leverage guy? Is he a short inning guy, right? And then there was Dave Roberts' comments on Shohei Ohtani. We're going to get back to the bullpen in a second, but I want to hit on this real quick because Shohei, he was lights out. I mean, after he walked Harper there in the first inning, he sat down 13 straight Phillies hitters in a row. He was pitching a no-no in that one on just 68 pitches. He's now gone 8 2/3 innings of scoreless ball over his last 2 starts in his season ERA. That season ERA is down to 3.29 through 41 innings this season. He's going to run away with the MVP. But yesterday at the game, I had a Japanese reporter come up to me and tell me, hey, during Shohei's scrum with the Japanese reporters, he talked about wanting to potentially play in the outfield, being willing to play in the outfield if that's where the Dodgers needed him to pitch. I think that Shohei Ohtani is the epitome of, hey, if you guys can't do it, I'll just do it myself. Because now we've seen Shohei Ohtani as the starter this year. We know what he's capable of as a bat. But the reason why it's interesting that he's willing to play outfield is because that opens the door to be more flexible in the way you use him as a reliever. It makes him being a reliever a more viable option. So this was translated from what Shohei said in Japanese, but the gist of it was, quote, I've been having various conversations with different people, and that topic has come up as well. That applies to the mound and possibly even the outfield. If I end up going as a reliever, then depending on what follows, there could be situations where I also need to play defense in the outfield. So no matter what situation arises, I want to make sure I'm prepared to handle it. So to unpack that one, well, look at the first sentence there. There have been discussions. So that tells you over the last couple of weeks, months, who knows how long, they've sat in a room and they've talked about using him as a reliever. That has come up. So if that has come up, that tells me that you're probably looking at Shohei earlier in a series in the postseason than later in a series in the postseason. Because do you really want to use him as a reliever in the middle, or if you're in a desperate situation, or do you want to use him as a clincher? And what this allows the Dodgers to do is if Shohei Ohtani comes into the game and he's pitching and things don't go his way and they tie it, and you want to make sure he stays in the lineup without forcing him to have to continue to pitch, then that means he goes to the outfield. Because the Ohtani rule, which started in 2022, thanks to Joe Madden, by the way. I was talking to Jose Mota yesterday, and if it weren't for Joe Madden, we probably would not have the Ohtani rule. I mean, who knows? But he was a big reason why it started. And before 2022, when Shohei Ohtani would pitch, after the game, when his start was over, he wasn't able to stay in his DH. That's why Shohei Ohtani actually logged 8 1/3 innings in the outfield in 7 games in 2021. FYI. And now this allows the Dodgers to really look at this as an option. Because if he wasn't going to play the outfield, then it'd be a major risk. And look, knowing who Shohei Ohtani is, knowing what he's done on the biggest stage, knowing how much success he's had, if he comes into a game late and he has a chance to clinch or get a big save, I'm betting on Shohei Ohtani putting up a 0 in that inning in the game ending. But now you got some flexibility and you want to make sure that you have every single option covered in this situation. And now you do just that. And also just shows the kind of team player that he is. It really does. I mean, this guy is willing to do every single thing that you can possibly do to help this team win a championship. I mean, is he going to be the umpire? Is he going to be the manager? Is we just going to clone Shohei Ohtani? Is it going to be Shohei versus Shohei? Because he's willing to do just about everything. I'm sure that he'd be willing to clean up Dodgers Stadium after a game. That is how helpful he is. And I think with Shohei Ohtani, this is a calculated move too, to say, hey, the relievers aren't performing well. If you need a reliever, I'm there. I can do it. I don't think this was an accident that this slipped out, or he said this, or he made this known after another game where the Dodgers bullpen just can't get it done. I think he's saying, hey, not just me, maybe some other starters, maybe Roki, maybe Hurt, maybe Sheehan, who knows? But they have got to find a way to get some stability out of their bullpen, or it's going to be a very long winter, and it's going to be a very short postseason run. And right now, I do think that you almost feel like they've let down Shohei in a way. And it's not that they've let him down. Okay, this is already great for him compared to what he was doing with the Angels. He's already won a World Series. But it's not, oh, let's put a roster for Shohei just because Shohei Ohtani deferred all that money. No, let's put a roster together because we think this team can win. And that is what the biggest head scratcher is this team is a bullpen away from going down as one of the greatest teams of all time. Think about that. And if the bullpen is the reason why they lose in October, that would be the position group that you have to invest the least amount of money in, and that is the group that fails you. It is like you got a Bugatti as your pitching staff, you got a Lamborghini as your offense, and right now it's looking like a beat-up Ultima as the bullpen. They've been as reliable as the ice cream machine at your local McDonald's. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully it does. And I have confidence in this group just because I think the talent is there, but I don't want to rely on the guys that are there right now. Let me ask this question. If the aliens had the beam down on LA right now and they asked you, okay, you have to pick one Dodgers reliever to get an out, who's the guy you're picking right now? Is it Blake Treinen, the guy that's imploded in 4 of the last 5 Dodgers losses? Is it Alex Vesia? Is it Justin Robleski, Edgardo Henriquez? I mean, who do you point to? Who do you point to? But here was Blake Treinen after the game talking about the struggles of the bullpen and why he's confident that this group will get it together.
You look back and you try to understand like what's going on, and you try to pinch yourself when things aren't going well. A lot of us have had our moments this year, and sometimes there's no words, there's no reason to describe it. I know it's frustrating to the fans. I mean, I can promise you from the bottom of our hearts, we're trying our darndest every single night. There's nothing we haven't done. There's no stone we haven't unturned. It's not an effort thing. It's not a preparation thing. It is literally just sometimes things aren't working. And, you know, I wish for their sake, for our team, for our organization, ownership, that, you know, I'm better in my spots. I know that's the heart of my teammates too. But sometimes you just don't have answers, and you just got to find something to cling to and keep plugging away every day. Reset your mind, reset your body, and try to do the job that you're called to do tomorrow. But yeah, obviously it's been a frustrating stretch. And people in the baseball world are frustrated. Like, I get it. Trust me, like, it doesn't hurt anybody more than us right now. Like, this is not fun. But we're really good at being resilient. And I know it's been a long season, but you have to understand what this team does year in and year out. And we're winners. And we're going to find a way to get that done.
So the Dodgers bullpen, they've really struggled. They pitched a lot this year. Since July 4th, the Dodgers have lost 18 leads. And since September 4th, the Dodgers starters have combined for a 1.65 ERA. You don't include the Bonda one in there on September 15th. And in 5 of the 11 games, the Dodgers starters have pitched 5+ innings and given up 1 run or fewer in hits. The Dodgers have gone 1-4 in those games. And the bullpen ERA in that stretch is 6.94. It is rough. You got to get creative. The bullpen needs help. But let's read your comments down below. We've got David Vire. There are no bulls in that pen, just hamsters. Danny D, 199. Dave should have pulled Robo after the second hit. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, we go back to the Shohei Ohtani thing, right? You're not going to see him in the 7th, right? It's very unlikely he'll be in the 7th or 8th. It's going to be in a clinching situation as a reliever late because let's not forget, guys have to warm up. If you don't get an adequate warm-up, you're going to put yourself in a position where you could get injured. So there's that. Henriquez had to warm up, and even when he did, he came up, he gave up a home run. There's just no one out there right now that you can trust 100%. Like, who's even on this trust tree? Just the leaves right now, right? There's no one that you can truly trust on this trust tree. So that's just kind of the situation that they've been in. And it's interesting because it just shows you how different this year is versus last year. Last year, the Dodgers, you had 2.5 starters, one that had a 5.38 ERA. You thought there was no chance they'd win a World Series with that rotation, and it was the bullpen that stepped up. The bullpen was huge, but now the bullpen, they look like the weakest link. I mean, think about this. 7 of 9 relievers were used in these last 2 games. 6 of them gave up a home run. 6. And the only one that didn't was Tanner Scott, who has 2 straight scoreless innings, but he's given up 11 home runs this season. So just think about that. And Blake Treinen, he's taken the loss in these last 2 games. For him, he just hasn't held runners. 47 steals and 54 attempts in 5 years with the Dodgers. That hurt him yesterday, and yesterday it was the command issues. So this Dodgers staff is, last 10 games, starters, it's just 61 2/3 innings, a 1.75 ERA, 12 runs, 20 hits, 21 walks, 77 strikeouts. Relievers, 29 2/3 innings, 7.36 ERA, 26 runs, 28 hits, 19 walks, 35 strikeouts. Like, are we at the point, like, this is insane to even think, are we at the point where you might have to consider Clayton Kershaw as a reliever? Potentially? Like, long-term after this? If you can't get the guys you can trust. Jack Dreyer's pitched a lot of innings. He's pitched a lot of innings. And who knows? I think Roki Sasaki, Clayton Kershaw at this point, stretching guys out. What I do know is you got to get extra creative and bold, because if they go on the hope is a strategy method, if they think hope is a strategy and you're saying, okay, Blake Treinen's going to be fine, Tanner Scott's going to be fine, it's going to be the dog with the coffee cup and the fire around him saying it's fine, right? At this point, if the Dodgers are going to win the World Series with this bullpen, just like they got creative last year with the rotation, you got to get creative this year with the bullpen, and we know that now. They're just not reliable enough. They're not. During the Dodgers' 12 straight postseason seasons, you look at the run prevention, the bullpen, it's always been a strength for this team. So we'll see what happens, but I do know that there have to be some long conversations about having guys switch roles to try to help this pen that's pitched so much this season. But all right, guys, coming up next, we've got the 7th inning stretch. But first, we've got a Dodgers Did You Know? So let's cue up that Dodgers Did You Know, because this was a very special date in Dodgers history.
It's time for Dodgers Did You Know? A mind-blowing fact about your boys in blue.
All right, let's feel great about this. On this date back on September 17th, 1996, at Coors Field in Colorado, Hideo Nomo became the only pitcher to throw a no-hitter at Coors Field. It was one of the best no-hitters in baseball history as far as how unlikely it is. Think about this. Here's some stats just to give you an idea of how improbable that no-hitter was. Teams combined to post a 7.06 ERA at Coors Field in 1996. That was not only the highest in the show that season, but it's still the highest ERA for any individual ballpark in a single season in Major League history. The second highest is also Coors Field. There were 1,900 hits at Coors Field in 1996. That is almost 200 more than any other ballpark in history for any season. Coors Field contributed to an average of 1.71 home runs per 9 innings in 1996. That's the highest total for any ballpark in a full season any year. It's also the second highest total for a for National League as 1.89 home runs per 9 innings. So the two top totals are Coors Field. And not only was Hideo Nomo the only visiting starting pitcher to toss a shutout at Coors Field, but he was the only opposing starter in 81 tries before that to throw a complete game. So not only was it the first no-hitter, it was the first complete game shutout from a opposing pitcher. And out of the 162 starting pitchers to toe the slab at Coors Field in 1996, only 35 finished 77 innings. Only 35 finished 7 innings, and that was the lowest total in Major League Baseball for any ballpark. I can go on and on and on. Like, it's just wild. I mean, just ignore the giving up 0 hits in 9 innings. No other visiting starter was able to hold the Rockies to even 3 hits over 6 innings. Think about that. There was not one starter that went into Colorado that year and held the Rockies to 3 hits in 6 innings, and he had them no hit in 9. He also finished, the funny thing too I love is in his career, Hideo Nomo finished with an 8.05 ERA in 10 career starts at Coors Field, and that's including the no-hitter. That's his second highest ERA for any ballpark in Major League Baseball with at least 5 starts. So just an incredible performance. I highly recommend going back and watching that tonight on YouTube after the win, hopefully, or before the game, because it was one of the greatest Dodgers pitching performance of all time. And this team needs that elusive no-hitter. But what a great night. Hideo Nomo, Vin Scully at Coors Field. Still get chills thinking about it. But all right, guys, now it's your time to shine. Let it loose. All your thoughts, comments, and questions on the 7th inning stretch. We're also going to give out a comment of the show.
The 7th inning stretch.
All right, we got Jonathan Romero 199. You still give the trade deadline a B- grade. I said B- C+ based on what they had to give up. I would definitely regrade that because of Brock Stewart's inability to stay healthy and provide anything for this team. But Alex Call hit a home run yesterday, had a sac fly, made a great defensive play. He's under team control for years. And I also look at the players they got in return that are having a lot of success for this team. I mean, in the minor league level that you can use for guys down the line, that's also something that I considered too, because you got some top 100 prospects. You just made some moves. You really made some moves. You got James Tibbs III. You got a lot of guys that really could help this team down the line. But I think at this point, it goes from a B to a C- right now but here's the thing. I'm not going to totally eat the L here because I was the only guy of any guy that I saw at least that was pushing for Johan Duran. Was I not? He was number 1 on my trade targets list. And I did a dramatic, hey, who cares about next year? Remember my line? Winning 1 World Series is special. Winning 2 is legendary, right? And I would have certainly parted ways with some higher level prospects to get more bullpen help. So if it was my team, I was going to go for high leverage arms, which I think that looking back, we'll see how this season transpires. But who knows? The way baseball is, it's so weird. Like, baseball is just the most maddening sport. Who knows? Postseason starts and rotations has some issues and the bullpen steps up as the offense. Who knows? You need all 3 facets to come through on the same day in the same series. But yeah, right now, looking back, I would say that I would downgrade my grade. Jimmy Joe Jerkic, $5 playoffs bullpen, Shohei, Kerr, Shion, Sasaki, Vesia, Miller, Rojas, and Kike. All right, that's a comment of the show. I just thought of Kike pitching and just made me feel good. Kike hit a home run yesterday, right? I mean, the offense was doing some stuff. Ruben Tamayo, the Dodgers should sign Snoop Dogg. He's really good at smoking Phillies.
Fire take.
It's a fire take. This is some, you know, we'll do a couple one. Maybe we should post one on the gram though. I mean, it's a little X-rated for the kids who watch the show. Malachi Fred, bullpen dogs aged in dog years, it seems like. I mean, a lot of them have pitched a lot, like Vesia and Blake Treinen. A lot of them are new, and they're new dogs that really haven't earned those collars yet, right? I think they should all wear dog collars. Like, forget show chains. Like, they should all wear dog collars, the spiky ones, be Dodger blue. Like, it'd be awesome. And has Kirby Yates earned that dog collar? Has Tanner Scott earned that dog collar? Right? Those are new guys. So Jack Dreyer, he's pitched a lot of innings. He's been massive for this team, but he's pitched a lot of innings. We saw the same thing with Ben Kasparius, pitching a lot of innings. Anthony Bonta has been really, really good. I still think that wasn't the worst pitch that he threw to give that home run to Schwarber. He's pitched a lot of innings. So you also lost Evan Phillips for the year. Edgardo Henriquez has had some ups and downs. I kind of warned you guys about how some of his stuff was playing, that it was inevitable that he was going to give up some stuff because throwing as hard as he does, he has Brusdar Graterol-itis, where you throw hard, but you don't get a lot of strikeouts. So that aids him. But Michael Kopech is another guy. So to your point, there are some guys that are underperforming this year that performed better last year. And the list is obvious. Kopech, Treinen. I still think Vesia has been the best reliever top to bottom for this team this year. But yeah, have they aged in dog years? We'll see. You would prefer they age like fine wine, but they're relievers. They're volatile in nature. Bilal K, I just don't believe in Doc. He is about to be 2 wins and 8 losses after this postseason. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. And I gave you my example. Like I said, you guys would blame Doc for the sinking of the Titanic, but I blame the roster construction, right? The Titanic didn't sink only because of Edward John Smith. Yes, he was going too fast with the iceberg ahead, 21 to 22 knots, but it was the wrought iron rivets that really were the doom of the Titanic. Should have gone with those steel rivets. They don't have the steel rivets in that bullpen right now, and it's costing them. B.O. Boyd, but I mean, look, to your point, here's the thing too. It's like, it's such a, they're not firing Dave Roberts. No one's going to wear 30 again. He'll end up going to the Hall of Fame one day. I got a good question yesterday that said, would Dave Roberts be going to the Hall of Fame if he was managing the A's? The answer to that question is no. But you know what? Some guys take advantage of opportunities, and he's taken advantage of this opportunity. He's a conduit from the front office, baseball ops, baseball development, Andrew Friedman, to the front office, back to the players, keeps the vibes high, keeps the culture where it is, keeps guys accountable, and we'll see how things end up. Is one World Series with prime Shohei Ohtani enough, and the resources this Dodgers team has? I think it'd be a disappointment. It wouldn't be a failure, though. We've gone from it being a failure to it would be a disappointment. Let's just be honest. Let's call it what it is. B.L. Boyd, I'm not sure where to research this, but I swear to God that we have given up a 5x more home runs at home this season than the road. It's unreal how many we've given up at Dodger Stadium. I mean, that's kind of the biggest myth about Dodger Stadium. Back in the day when the mound was not where it is now, you had the higher mound and you had Sandy Koufax. Yeah, Dodger Stadium was a pitcher's park. Now it's like it's basically the 17th ranked park in baseball as far as hitter friendly, right? Oracle, T-Mobile, Seattle, San Francisco, those are the 2 lowest. Dodger Stadium is right in the middle. But yeah, I mean, I think too, sometimes they hit differently at home too, because you're there some of the time, you're watching the game. It's a little more depressing that way. But A.U. Potter, when will Dave remember to swap the lineup order of Mookie and Ohtani on the day Ohtani pitches for us at home? Not to rush him that much, to retain his stamina a bit. That's a fair question, just because Dave even said before Mookie Betts had gotten things going that that's something that they were at least going to discuss. And it is interesting. I know you guys attend to the games a lot and they don't always show this on TV, but it is almost comical to see Shohei Ohtani rushing out and not going in the dugout, and he's putting together all of his stuff and he's just rushing up there. The batting average, the OPS, some of the numbers have been not so great when he hits after he pitches. We also saw the Byron Buxton, after he gave the home run to Buxton, then he hit a home run. So there are moments where he has had success. I just don't think they're going to switch the lineup because it's working. Mookie's hitting like an MVP again. Shohei Ohtani is going to win unanimous MVP again, just hit 50 home runs. And Freddie Freeman's still Freddie Freeman. So the issue there is if you bat Mookie leadoff and you have Shohei batting second, and then you have 2 lefties right next to each other in Shohei and Freddie, that gives the opposing manager a potential platoon advantage in a pitching change down the line. So that's something that you have to consider there. We've got Brianna Rochelle. By the way, did you get Lola's information?
No, I did not.
Lola's been like, she's like our top like NIL donor or something. Like
Really?
she dropped like $50 a chat. And yeah, she was looking, she was asking if she could be the moderator of the Discord.
Really?
Yeah. Like this show's basically been, the post game's been basically presented by her. So yeah.
Lola, reach out to us. We'll drop our, we'll put our email.
Lola's my little sugar mama, you know? What? She's been fun. She's been going great with the super chat. Joe,
Lola and last year,
Whack'em Sticks.
Whack'em Sticks.
Whack'em Sticks.
Yeah, Whack'em
Where
Sticks.
are you, Whack'em Sticks, man? I mean, could buy us some more relievers. Shohei Ohtani has talked about at the seat concierge. Wait, Shohei has talked about being okay. This is going back to me saying he's going to do everything. Okay. Joe says Shohei has talked about being at the seat concierge and at the dugout club seats. Yeah, parking attendant. The guy, that'd be a great commercial, by the way. David U. Friedman's refusal to add top-end relievers at the deadline will ultimately doom the Dodgers this season. It is something that we're going to revisit for sure. I mean, you look at what the Phillies gave up for Duran, and then he gave a home run to Andy Pajes yesterday, and the first time that a opposing hitter had hit any of his curveballs, right? So Mason Miller, did the Padres win the World Series with Mason Miller? How's that plan out for them? He could be a reliever, could be a starter at some point. And some of these guys have not done great. Like the David Bednar has been hit or miss. We look at Devin Williams with the Yankees. Relievers, they're so frustrating. They're one-hit wonders sometimes, and it will be interesting to see how they fix this on the fly. Do they just trust the guys and their track records, or they think out of the box like I think they should? There's Lola. Just got here, Dmac. Did I hear my name? Ears ringing. What happened, Lola? Lola, where's that 50? I guess just for the post game? Maybe at night. Maybe at night she's celebrating. Either she's celebrating a win with drinks or coping with a loss with some drinks, and then she drops the 50. Maybe she's at work day. But no, Lola, we appreciate it. We got to get you on the Discord, right, Noel?
Definitely, we'll get you on Discord. We'll hook you up with some.
No, she doesn't just want to be on Discord. She wants to be the moderator.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you be that?
We'll give her a gift package too.
Is that like a W-9 situation or?
We gotta talk to upper management.
The upper management. Okay, we'll work on that. Because she can use her whatever she makes. She can super chat it. You know what I mean? I like that. Okay, Zhao says we don't need college boys, Dmac. We need street fighters. Hadouken. Praying for a proper gang fight. I love that how like last year they're the dogs. Woof woof. This team is gritty. This team won with 2.5 starters to now they're back to being not so what?
Oh my gosh, shout out Lola. You asked for 50, Doug. She gave you 50.
All right, there we go. Lola, honestly,
look at this.
Bam, Lola. Seriously, I'm just gonna give you my Venmo at this point.
Oh,
okay?
Thank you, Lola. Thank you.
Venmo, Zelle, Cash App. That's going to that's going to Edwin Diaz in the offseason. We're throwing that towards a reliever, or we're going to buy Noel a new knee with that.
No,
what do you think? What do you think? He needs a knee brace. He needs some good PT.
Hey, actually, Gabe Smallson, one of our writers, he gave me a good idea. He said that I should go to the Dodgers and tell them that we could film a video about their medical facility, like their MRI machine. And I will say it's for a video, but it's really just to get an MRI quick for me.
I like that. That's the hustle right there.
That's a good idea. Huh?
I like that. That's not a bad idea. I'm going to have to run that by Dr. Dia Elitrach. We got, personally, I think Shohei should play catcher. That's from Joe. Give you a bruh for that one. Yeah, double bruh. Ron Stoppable, Phillies versus Dodgers, NLDS is going to be lit. It's going to be electric. It's going to be absolute cinema. Hopefully the Dodgers will be in a much better spot out of their pen when they get there. And hey, you got to get there first. And like I said, a 0.6 chance of getting that bye. Couple more here. We got BL Boy. The time is now. You people who treat him like he should always be kept in Christmas wrapper crazy. We are trying to win a World Series, not just when the playoffs start. George, it would be cool to see Shohei take some fly balls pregame today. That'd be kind of cool. The very next day. That'd be kind of nice. I wonder what glove he would use. Probably a different glove than his outfield glove. Than his pitching glove. Brian Williams, I'm really hoping the brain trust realizes that will take to win 2 to 3 wild card games with the pen. The way it is not going to get it done. We really should try Ben Kasparius again versus Yates. I'd take Kasparius 100%. Yeah, I don't think you should rule out Ben Kasparius. I think there's still a room for him to possibly get on this team, especially against righties in that role. So, yep, that is going to do it for the 7th inning stretch. What was our comment of the show? We had a couple of them, so we'll post those on Instagram. The Snoop Dogg one, what was the Snoop Dogg one again? I like that. That's a clever one. We'll definitely get that one popping. All right, guys, running out of time. So let's go to the walk-off.
The walk-off.
All right, so today for the walk-off, celebrating Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 season again. And the question is, for last year versus this year, I was thinking, what would you rather have? I mean, it's not even a question, right? Last year we were making 50-50 merch. We were doing 50-50 everything, 50-50 bobbleheads. Like, this year's 50-50 is 3 times as impressive as last year's 50-50. I mean, it's not even close for a guy to have 50 home runs and 50 strikeouts as a pitcher in the same season. Like, for some reason, this is not getting celebrated enough. Maybe because 40-40 was a lot from a base runner standpoint, a hitter standpoint, and you never had a 50-50. But it's more unique because this won't be done. Like, there will be another 50-50 season offensively. Like, that's going to happen. You will never see a 50 home run and a 50 strikeout season. Like, Babe Ruth wasn't coming close to doing any of this. Like, unless there's another freak athlete like Shohei Ohtani down the line, this is not going to happen. And he might even get to 60 strikeouts. He might even get to 60 strikeouts and maybe 54 to 56 home runs. I mean, geez, go off. Let's get a 60-60. Who knows? But that is going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Dmac_LA. Special thanks to super producer. Who's that in the frame? Oh, there you go. Super producer Noel Sanchez. Go follow him at Noise by Noel. Go to GearUp.LA for the best Dodgers merch in the game. Go to Homage. Pick up the best Dodgers jacket in history. That satin starter jacket. We need to do a petition to make those permanent. Those were the best managers jackets. Not even close. Go pick one up. We got our link down below in the info. There's probably like 5 or 6 left, and maybe, I mean, they probably have some sizes, but I would go right now. Like, don't even, like, stop watching the show, buy the jacket, and then you'll have it for what's hopefully not a long winter for the Dodgers. But that's going to do it, guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button for your Los Angeles Dodgers. And remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.